Washington, D.C. has a wide variety of wonderful museums. Today we're visiting Newseum, featuring over 5 centuries of news, and the International Spy Museum, celebrating the wonderful world of international espionage.
We're one of the only museums, I would venture to say the only museum in the world, who changes an exhibit daily. These are our front pages. They are daily front pages, and they're from all 50 states and a selection of countries around the world. They change every day.
What are the highlights that we should definitely check out?
Well, you're going to definitely want to check out the Pulitzer Prize photography exhibit. The gallery there features photographs from all the Pulitzer winners, as well as some of the cameras used by the photographers. And it's a great place where you can really dig in and learn about, not just see the photo itself, which is amazing and resonant enough, obviously, having won a Pulitzer, but you can dig in and get the story behind the photograph, get the journalists, the photojournalists' view and understand what was going on, how they were experiencing things.
What else should we see?
So you want to see the Berlin Wall. We have 8 pieces of the original Berlin Wall here on exhibit in Washington.
I don't think anybody alive today in our generation will ever forget the horrible tragedy of 9/11.
Absolutely not, and we have a special gallery here dedicated to 9/11 and understanding in particular how and why journalists did what they did on that day. But it also includes some amazing objects, the most iconic of which is surely the communications tower from the antenna from the top of the tower.
So from a little bit of sadness to joy, I see lots of kids in the interactive section.
Absolutely, yeah. We have this great interactive newsroom where you can see what it's like to be a TV reporter. Try and read the teleprompter, try and make your cue.
Hello, I'm John Olson. One of the highlights of a trip to Washington, D.C. would be seeing the president, of course, but few people will ever get that close. But don't worry, the latest big screen exhibit at the Newseum brings you as close as the president's photographer. The International Spy Museum has the largest collection of spy artifacts of any museum in the world, and it just so happens we have an actual former spy taking us on tour today. Let's go back to what got you into the world of spy and espionage.
Well, I went into that world at the height of the Cold War. The Cold War was getting underway, and I was approached by the agency, and we were very concerned about the Soviet Union, communism, all that business, and this is the 50s we're talking about, late 50s.
A lot of the stuff you actually used.
We're right here in disguise. I've used disguise. We're here near bugging equipment and so forth. I've used that sort of thing, not necessarily everything here, but certainly the elements of espionage that are depicted here I've been involved in, yes.
So we think of spies, I mean, everybody's intrigued with the life of a spy. You have James Bond. Okay. You think of it as the Bond experience.
All right.
How much of it is like Bond?
My easy answer is all of it. But of course, that's not quite true, is it? Okay.
I like this one because I used to watch Get Smart growing up, and I loved Maxwell Smart. He had a phone.
That was actually a very early cell phone, wasn't it?
Obviously, this is out of service. This isn't one of the newer technologies. How long does an artifact have to be out of service before it can come to the museum? Obviously, we don't want to see all the latest, greatest stuff here.
We use our own judgment in what we're putting out here. Everything you're seeing in here, has been described in the literature and the photographs.
So Peter, I love this one particularly because you actually wore a jacket like this.
That's true.
What was that like?
Okay. This is called the buttonhole camera, okay? Because the lens is in the buttonhole. In other words, if we could open and close the lens, you would see it like a little eye down there.
So this exhibit is really for the birds.
That's one way of putting it, but this is one of my favorite exhibits. One of these guys got a camera hanging off of him, and what that camera has is an automatic shutter release. So when the pigeon flies, the shutter release starts taking pictures.
Well, thank you for having us. This has been a lot of fun.
John, it's a pleasure.
Pleasure to meet you.